think we have a traffic problem. Which we don't. You know, it's really just an honor to be here on this stage with, especially the SAPD. I've worked with SAPD over the last 25 years and have made over 1,000 school visits for the Just Say No DARE program. So how about a big hand for the San Antonio Police Department for all they do for our city? Because we're all on that same page. Now, I want to ask you a question. How many of you, in your volunteerism, in all of the things that you do that you don't have to do, but you do, try to involve your kids and grandkids as much as possible? Raise your hands. That's great. We're all on the same page. Because I truly believe that there's a whole thing called the circle of giving that takes place when you do that. And I would imagine that if I asked you about your parents and grandparents and how they lived their lives and what they did in this community and maybe other communities, you'd say the same thing about them that maybe your kids will say about you someday. In fact, my mom was always involved. My brother and I, we grew up here in San Antonio. My mom was a den mother. She was a patrol mom. She was involved in our school, just always giving. In fact, my brother and I were talking about this. The school play, they needed a backdrop. It was the nativity scene that they had the backdrop for. My mom single-handedly cut out 1,000 silver stars and then pasted them on this blue curtain. And that curtain was there for many, many years. And it was the things that they did, that our parents did, that gave us that kind of that basis for giving. And I like it when I see kids in the audience, because I know sometimes kids come here and they're just kind of sitting there and you're kind of making noise and they're bored and everything else. So this is just for the kids in the audience, okay? So none of you, this is just for the kids, okay? When I was about 11 years old, I found out that I had this ability to mimic voices that I heard. I would be inside HEB and I'd heard somebody walking down with an accent and I'd start talking like that. And my mom would say, no, don't do that. I said, Mom, that's the way they talk. And I just had this little tape recorder in my head. So one day I'm watching, okay, again, this is just for the kids, okay? I'm watching the Yogi Bear cartoon show, my favorite show. And Yogi always had that attitude. Hey, I'm Yogi Bear, smarter than the average bear. And of course his little friend, what was his name? This is just for the kids, okay? Boo-Boo would always say, Yogi, will you... Oh my goodness, we're going to get in trouble with the ranger. Tengo miedo, vato. He was bilingual. Okay. And there was a little duck in this one cartoon. His name was Yankee Doodle. He kept following Yogi around and kept saying, Mr. Bear, would you be my mama? Now keep in mind, I'm 11 years old, and I decide I'm going to do that voice. In fact, I'm going to do cartoon voices, and I'm going to be on television. I'm going to do the voices of cartoon. That's what I'm going to do. And again, I didn't know what I couldn't do, so I had these big dreams. Well, one thing led to another, and after about 6 weeks of trying to do this little voice, because I didn't know what I couldn't do, out of my voice came, Mr. Bear, would you be my mama? I don't have a mama. I'm just a poor little ducky. Well, thank you. Long story short, went to San Antonio College, got into radio and television, ended up going to UTEP, came back to San Antonio, got into radio, ended up getting a job in Los Angeles, and one day, I'm on the air at KMPC, Gene Autry's radio station in LA, and I get a call from an agent saying, have you ever thought about doing cartoon work? I said, are you kidding? It's what I've dreamt of all my life. So he says, let me see what I can do. 2 weeks later, he says, I've got your first job. And I can remember going into the parking lot of the Hanna-Barbera studios to work on a new series. Actually, it was the second season of a series called The Jetsons. I had made it from my dad's barbershop, where we lived, inside the barbershop at the corner of Nolan and Pine on the east side, with these big dreams, but a family that supported me all the way to my dream. And with me, sitting next to me, was the man who did the voice of Bugs Bunny, Elmer Fudd, Sylvester Tweety, Mel Blanc, who was also the voice of Mr. Spacely, Spacely Sprocket Company. And he taught me those voices. It was incredible. What's up, Doc? have you seen a widow gray wabbit?
Oh, I thought I saw a pretty cat. You bet you saw a pretty cat. The pretty cat was me.
So all throughout my life, all I ever wanted to do was make people happy. Make them laugh. Bring out the joy in people. And I found that when I combined the message of just say no, combine the message of do everything you can to live your dreams, stay in school, not just stay in school, but excel in school, that I could really be something in the community. And that's what I've tried to do all my life. And I love San Antonio because in San Antonio, we have a heart as big as Texas. I don't know if you remember this, but back in the late 90s, there was this incredible storm and flooding. And people died in these low water crossings. It was unbelievable. And some people lost their homes. Well, I was on the air at Magic 105 at the time. And we wanted to do something that would help all these people. So we got, through the help of HEB and a lot of other community socially responsible companies, to help us. And I broadcasted my show from what was then Central Park Mall. Remember that big sign? It's still there, as a matter of fact. And we had the whole thing set up. We wanted people to bring all kinds of supplies that would help these people who were homeless now because of these big storms. We wanted to fill up at least an HEB semi full of supplies. We wanted to get about 25 pints of blood and raise $5,000. That was the goal. Well, we had a steady stream of 2 rows of cars. Imagine, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., they came from all over. All you could see was cars, all bringing all these supplies. And I'll never forget this one moment that epitomized what giving and taking care of each other in San Antonio was all about. It was a Mercedes. A lady had come from the Dominion. In fact, she didn't even get out of her car. She just said, "In the back." And so we opened up the back. "Hello, in the back." We opened up the back door, and there were some linens that she had her, I guess her maid wrap up very neatly, and that was her donation. So we said, "Thank you very much, ma'am." At that very same moment, on another lane, right next to her, was this old beat-up station wagon. And in it were 8 hands coming out of the windows, holding on to an old mattress that this family was donating. At that moment, ladies and gentlemen, this lady and this family were one. They were San Antonio. And as if that wasn't enough, as we were starting to close up, way on the other side of the parking lot, I hear this lady saying, "Sonny, Sonny," she's waving at me. And she comes up and she has a little bag. She says, "I'm sorry, I had to take 2 buses." And she has a little bag from Walgreens. And inside it is a toothpaste and toothbrush. That was her donation. You know, Mother Teresa said, it's not what we do, but it's what we do with love that counts. And I think that's what San Antonio does. And I will tell you that as a result of all that love in that campaign, we not only filled up 1 semi, we filled up 19 semis. That's right. 125 pints of blood were donated and $50,000 in cash, all because of San Antonio. So, I thank you for your kindness. And as the general said, and I'll have to give him one of my cards, I do have on the back of my card this wonderful saying that I found from a philosopher in the 1st century, Philo of Alexandria, who said, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a great battle." But I also want to leave you with a quote that I actually got from a little lady. And you never know when God sends you these messengers. But I was coming out of my dentist's office in Los Angeles, and this little lady was walking down. She had elderly lady, she had a brace. She'd been in an accident. She was walking down. And I said, "Can I help you?" She says, "Yes, I'm looking for Dr. Brown. Do you know what Dr. Brown's office is?" I said, "No, but let's go look." So we go to the directory. There's no Dr. Brown. I said, "I'll tell you what, I'm going to call information. We're going to find out where he is. We'll get him." "You would do this for me?" She introduced herself. She said her name was Mrs. Rosenberg. And I said, "Absolutely." I figured she's somebody's mom. I want somebody to help my mom. So I called over, and they said, Gio, we're in another building across the way. There was construction going on. So I said, I'll bring her over. So keep in mind, 5 minutes ago, we were strangers, and now we're a couple. We're walking very slowly across the way. And I'll never forget what she said to me. She looked up at me and she says, you know, we're all here to help each other, aren't we? And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We are all here to help each other. And because every single one of you has made that effort to be someone who counts, someone who makes a difference in our community, San Antonio, once again, is recognized for what it is, #1 in America. God bless you all.
Mr. Sonny Melendrez. Okay, folks, we're gonna get to the portion of our program where we're gonna be recognizing several different groups of folks. If I could get each, of course, you folks that have worked so diligently to put the projects together that are displayed in the hallway out there. We're going to recognize our liaison team first, and then some of our sponsors and donors. They will also be receiving plaques or the Eagle Award up here. So.